So namaste everyone. Welcome back to the class on Mundaka Upanishad. We will do the Shantipatha. Bhadram karnebhih shrunuyam devaः Bhadram pashyemakshabhiryajtraः Sthirairangaistustuvagam व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So while we chant this, let us remember one thing, that this is a mantra, and mantras all had their own intonations, swaras. For the purpose of Vedantic study, we have not learned as a traditional Vedic chanter would do. We are close, but we may have flaws with reference to swaras. We may not have flaws with reference to the sandhis and pronunciations mostly, but we may not be very to the mark for the swaras. It needs practice. It needs guidance under a Vedic chanter. So for a Vedantic study, even this much chanting is not necessary. But chanting is parayanam, and invoking mantras as closely as possible is beneficial. We have seen it. And this mantra in particular, all mantras have their own capacity to reveal the artha and the phala when it is done only as a chanting. So, invoking this prayer of auspiciousness, welfare for yourself, ourselves, our families, our friends, their families and their friends, their families and their friends. And in our mind, we include the whole Srishti in this prayer. May there be Bhadram for every being here. What may look to us sometimes as not auspicious, but if we leave it to the laws of Ishvara, it has to be Bhadram. What is not Bhadram is what we may be doing. But in the mantra, it is all invoked as auspiciousness. So with this, once more, we will chant this. Bring in your mind, your family, your friends, and the entire Vasudeva Kutumbakam, every living being that you can perceive, conceive. Let there be welfare for all living beings. I'll chant this again. Bhadram karnebhih shrunuyam devaः Bhadram pashyemakshabhiryajtraः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So continuing from the last class, Mundaka Upanishad belongs to Atharva Veda. Upanishad word in itself, Shankara gives a meaning in almost all the bhashyams of the Upanishads in the beginning, in the Sambandha Bhashyam. In this particular Bhashyam of the text, Mundaka, he gives the breakup of the word being upa, ni, sad. The main root word of Upanishad is actually sad dhatu. Shadri, and what remains is sad. Sad is the real meaning of the word. Upa and ni are prefixes to give specific meaning to the word, to enhance the meaning of the word. Shankara says, taking the first two prefixes, upani, he says, take them together in this text. Upa, here he says, refers to the student. And upa as a prefix is samipa, going near. So Shankara says, upani refers to the student and his state of mind. When he's seeking with that mumukshutvam, when he's seeking a teacher for Brahmavidya, who would expound to him, her, the truth that will once and for all relieve the kleshas, the shortcomings, limitations that afflict a living being. Upani together, he says, refers to the student. Glowing close, upa. Close as in approaching a teacher with an extremely attentive and focused, earnest. Go close, seek the person. So many times today, supposing if you're unwell, how would you want a doctor today? That earnestness, seeking the doctor, helpless because you know the knowledge the doctor has is going to be auspicious, bhadram for you in the context of the example. You have some symptom. You don't have knowledge of how to relieve the symptom. The doctor has the knowledge of how to relieve that symptom. How would you seek that doctor? Are you seeking the person, or are you seeking the person for the knowledge the person has? And that is the attitude that Shankara indicates in a student by saying upa. When he goes close to the teacher, to the one who will who expounds the knowledge, who he hopes will clarify his doubts, her doubts, when he goes with this attitude, he goes with the same desire inside. It's a fervor inside. There's an urgency inside. Upa, he wants association. Kuch bhi kar lo, he wants association. He wants association with the knowledge, and the knowledge expresses through the person. Therefore, he seeks that person. But his fervor is to get close to the knowledge, and that is upa. And ni, in another context, he would say, is he stays with that till his whole clarity has dawned on him. Nishchayena, till he is able to arrive at doubtless knowledge with reference to Atma Vidya. He is absolutely clear about what has been expounded, and his doubts have been eliminated by his mananam, by his prashnena in the sense of wanting clarity for mananam. And through this process, his mind has become clear. Upani, going close with an idea to gain exclusive vision, clarity of the subject, which he initially hopes and has shraddha in, that this knowledge will relieve his samsara symptoms. Samsara symptoms is the cyclical existence. He just feels that it will relieve him. This is Upani. Sad Dhatu has three meanings: Visharna, Gatihi, Avasadana. Visharna, Gati, Avasadana. All three are the meanings of the root Sad, Sad Dhatu. Shankara says when you take the meaning of Visharna, Visharna by itself has the meaning of weakening, shithilikaran, dhila karna. Example I gave is, when you put a rucksack outside for some time, and by the weather and all that, all the strands, the waft and the weave, they start weakening. That is weakening. Without Brahmavidya, Atma Vidya, Jivatvam is extremely strongly knit. It's like a rucksack which is held naya naya bana hua. So the samsara and its drishti is very firm, born from the sense of individuality. Because of avidya, not knowing Atma Vidya, accepting that I am this individual and this world is real, the vision of samsara is firm. And therefore, whatever klesha, whatever affliction comes in the process of living a life, he accepts it also as real. He's firm in this belief that I am a sufferer and I deserve suffering, or I am now happy and I wish my happiness lasts forever, etc., etc. This strong idea that I am a human being, I'm a limited entity. I'm born, I'll be gone. This idea is so firm that just a mere passing hearing word is not going to shake it. Because even when I hear Vedanta for years and years, it doesn't really shaken our sense of individuality mostly, averagely, generally. I mean, there are exceptions, of course, and that's why the knowledge is valid, because it is applicable to everyone. But for most of us, the knowledge remains as an intellectual appreciation of certain values, and it looks very attractive, yes, very nice. But it's not adequate enough to loosen the grip of samsara on us. Shankara says, the word Upanishad mein, when you take the meaning of Sat as Visharna, then the first indicator, the first relief is that it starts to weaken your samsara drishti. The minute you have right knowledge, the correct knowledge, and for correct knowledge, this Upanishad is going to establish Sampradaya vision. When the topic comes, I'll elaborate. For now, that this samsara vision is firm to us when the student approaches the master, the teacher, the guru for Brahmavidya and not for anything else, not for emotional solace, not to learn how to get success, etc. Only one vision, and that yearning is only I have samsara dosha and I want nivritti from samsara. What helps? It's like I have fire. What helps? If my hair is on fire, what will help? So, Visharna means that the minute the words begin to make sense to the person and he starts to appreciate the value of the knowledge, the samsara loosens but is not eradicated. Then comes the second meaning of the word sad, which is gati. Gati word, gamanam, to go towards. When the word means gamanam, means to the extent the samsara has dissolved, weakened itself, and remember our samsara is raga, dvesha, ahankara, generalized, and from there starts the cycle, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. The minute the samsara weakens, there is gati towards one's own nature, atma, vidya. You start having movement towards your own inner peace, towards your own absolute peace. You start taking steps towards your own freedom, absolute freedom. So the minute the knowledge falls, Upanishad is knowledge. In another Upanishad, he says, Upanishad is knowledge itself. There is no book. Book is knowledge. Therefore, book is knowledge and knowledge is Upanishad. So there is no distinction between the words and the book itself. It's not a book which is called Upanishad. It is the knowledge which is actually Upanishad, and the word is revealing that knowledge. The minute there is this knowledge in a person, his samsara drishti starts to weaken and he starts moving towards vidya, his own self, his own absolute nature, comes closer to it. And as he pursues the vidya, then comes finally the gain. Then comes finally the gain, which is avasadhana, complete destruction, total annihilation. The minute you have firm knowledge of Atma Vidya, there is annihilation of samsara completely, totally, and thereby the person is freed. This, any topic, a book or a topic. The book is a topic. So it is not that in Vedas there are so many books. In Vedas, there are these topics which were samvada, which is called Upanishad, because they deliver freedom. That samvada is in such a way that it addresses the samsara nivritti. This is Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad in itself has a popular meaning, and that meaning generally is, it is actually made up of again two words. Munda is the word, and then there is a suffix added, which implies the karta. So mundakaha becomes the karta. Who's the karta? He says this karta who has got this burning desire of wanting knowledge. In those days, the tradition was that when a person left home to seek such a vidya, and when they found the person, then they took on their head a pot of burning coal, fire, to indicate that I am on fire. I am तप गया हूं मैं इस संसार से, quote unquote. It's almost like that. तप गया हूं मैं इस संसार आना जाना से, आवागमन से. Avagaman means coming and going, coming and going. तप चुका हूं, हे भगवान, give me relief. That'll douse this fire on me. Munda means he would shave off his head, shave off the hair, because of which that Munda Dhatu, shaven head on fire, he becomes the karta of this, wanting to search this knowledge, wanting this knowledge. And because it's a shaven head, it was given a suggestive meaning that it was for sannyasis. Means one who was ready to give up the other purusharthas, artha, kama, dharma, and exclusively pursue loudly, exclusively pursue moksha purushartha, for which the person has enough viveka to understand Atma-vidya is the solution for it. So he decides to just be associated with the knowledge rest of his life, for which he would, shaven head would indicate that he has decided to change the order of his ashram. And that sannyasa would mean Upanishad is a topic for final engagement for a human being. It's the final engagement. That final engagement, sannyasa ashram represented that. But what about us grahasthas jo आराम से थोड़े बहुत बैठे हैं, but yet there is this yearning for it? What about us? Shankara says that sannyasa represents the outlook, the vritti. Anyone who has that sannyasa vritti is qualified, is a mundakaha. If one has the sannyasa vritti, doesn't matter whether your ashram is sannyasa or not, but prerequisite is sannyasa drishti, sannyasa vritti, sannyasa inclination, which means your mind has shamadama adi shataka in fair wealth, fair enough. Therefore, it is qualifying the person who has this desire for knowledge, and mundaka means representing such a person. And that such a person represented, if even he has a vritti, is the one for whom Upanishad, that Upanishad, Brahmavidya gets concluded. So the topic that comes in this samvad, it is, I keep forgetting, it is three chapters. Each chapter is called a Mundaka, and each chapter has 2 sections, Khandaha. So in all, there are 6 sections and about 64 verses. These 64 verses are addressing the Mundakaha, who has the sannyasa vritti, and he is the one who is the beneficiary of this knowledge. So with this, you come to understand the word Mundaka Upanishad. This Upanishad in particular, like yesterday I said, is 5th in otherwise the order, but is a very simple Upanishad. Therefore, is also okay to start first. Starts with glorifying the parampara. The first 3 verses of the Upanishad are glorifying the Guru Shishya Sampradaya. And this book says, Upanishad says, that this Sampradaya has started from Brahmaji himself. The very first verse of the book is beginning to establish the lineage of how this knowledge has come down. Today, why should I value this knowledge? So many people in the world today, most people in the world are not interested in Vedanta because they think it is ancient knowledge. It is Purana, some which is no relevance to today's life. If such an attitude is there, of such distance from the knowledge within yourself, you don't see it as immediate to yourself, immediate usefulness to yourself, then that indicates you're cut off from the sampradaya. So, by mentioning the sampradaya, Shankara says the idea is to glorify Brahmavidya. And in glorifying Brahmavidya, imagine if somebody, the minute you know that this is the knowledge and this person has it, automatically a personalization that happens with the knowledge helps the student to connect to the knowledge better. So the whole sampradaya is mentioned not for us to develop superstition around it or to become a, it is to make the knowledge personal to us. Where have I got this knowledge from? It is not someone's manokalpitam. It is not a cult that I'm following. It is not origined just now in time 200 years ago or three by someone, some person, by a philosopher or um, by a neo spiritualism. It is not something that has had an origin. To deny its origin in time, to deny that it is something which has come about, created by another being, to deny that is the sampradaya vision. So the first verse, I'll chant the first verse, which is the first Mundaka, first Khanda, first verse. And for all of those who may be wondering, most often we use Ramakrishna Mission. Yeah, Ramakrishna Mission publications for this. This is Swami Gambhirananda's English translation of the Bhashyam. Or you have, my book is covered so you won't see it, but this is Gita Press, Gorakhpur. So Gita Press Gorakhpur has the Bhashyam of Mundaka Upanishad. We are not doing Bhashyam in details, but we are doing the classes based on the Bhashyam. So you can have any book from anywhere, doesn't matter whichever publication, as long as it's a Mundaka Upanishad. So the first verse I'm going to chant. These are all again mantras. This mantras from the Mundaka Upanishad do not have the swaras, so there's a little more flexibility except the invocation. But they have a certain tune which is attractive and which is very nice to learn also. Om Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhavuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sa Brahmavidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Atharvaya Cheshtaputraya Praha. I'll do this again. Om Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhavuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sa Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Atharvaya Cheshtaputraya Praha. Now the verse starts with Brahma Devanam Prathama Sambhavuva. So the glory is Devanam, of all the Devas. Brahma Sambhavuva. Brahmaji, the creator. Sambhavuva, emerged by his own will. He came by his own will. The creator, he emerged by his own sankalpa, which means he's the creator from that Brahman state. The first identification as Ishvara, which is also Nirgun, this Ishvara, which is beginning to get further differentiated in expression of manifestation, the very first manifestation is of Brahma, the creator. Of all the gods, Brahmaji, Prathamaha, he's the Pratham, he's the first. Who is the teacher of this sampradaya? From where has this knowledge come? He says the creator himself, the very first. Himself is the one who gave this knowledge. Brahmaji, we say Chaturmukha Brahmaji. Chaturmukha Brahmaji means the 4 Vedas he also holds in his hand. These 4 Vedas means the knowledge of creation is what is symbolized by Brahmaji. That knowledge itself is the first expression. Brahmaji, of all the devas, the glory of this sampradaya is Brahmavidya is initiated by, communicated by, handed over by the very creator, the all-knowing. The all-knowing. Further, what is he? There are now slight to glorify it. Vishwasya Karta. He is the doer. He is the creator. Of what? Vishwa. Of the whole Jagat. He is the creator of the Jagat. Vishwa, we have now seen, those who have done Tattvabodha, is that expression in association with Sthula, Sharir, Sthula, Jagat. When the knowledge of the names and forms, knowledge of the objects gets revealed to whom? He says this creator, as a creator, he is the creator of the Jagat, and the Jagat means it is now knowledge of the objects. All the objects are revealed. He is the creator and he is also the knower of these. Bhuvanasya Gopta. He is also the protector. Creator, protector, sustainer. He's the sustainer of this Bhuvana. He's the sustainer of this Jagat. So the same Ishvara, Brahman, Ishvara, the same Ishvara is Brahmaji, who now has created this Jagat, is also the knower of it, has all knowledge, comprehensive, and as a protector, he protects this now with knowledge. Bhuvanasya Gopta. Saha Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham. This Brahma Vidya, which is Sarva Vidya Pratishtham, which is the base of all Vidyas. Every knowledge has its base in Brahma Vidya. To convey this, there are 2 points. One point is that the very knower, the consciousness, you call it in general terms, without which no knowledge can ever happen, this becomes the base of all knowledge. Without that consciousness, without this awareing principle, without this knowing principle, who is called all-knower, without this chit, there is no knowledge possible of the objects. So this Brahma Vidya is Sarva Vidya Pratishtha because it deals with this all knowing. Dealing with all knowing, it becomes Sarva Vidya Pratishtha. And so, being the first point. And the second point is more Laukika Drishti, that since all knowledge of the Vedas was pertaining to the absolute goal, the four Vedas, to help understand that there were auxiliary knowledges, branches of knowledge. So the 14 branches of knowledge, the entire matter being divided into 14 Vedas, and then Upavedas, Vedangas, Upavedas. The Vedangas itself would be 6 in number. Just a minute, 1 second. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Chandas, Jyotisham, and Niruptam. Shiksha being science of pronunciation, etymology. All these 6. And then you have Upangas. These are Mimamsa, the way you analyze the Vedic literature. Nyaya, the science of logical reasoning. Then you have the Puranas, 18 Puranas, and then the Upapuranas, another 18 Upapuranas. And then you have the Dharma Shastras. All these branches, Vedangas, there are also Upavedas, Upangas, Puranas, Dharma Shastras, all of these actually have relevance only for the Vedic knowledge, the Shruti knowledge. So Shruti becomes the Adhishthan, Pratishthan for all these other branches of knowledge. So what is Brahmavidya? Vedanta is dealing with Brahmavidya. So what is Brahmavidya? This Brahmavidya is the Sarva Vidya Pratistham. Being the Sarva Vidya Pratistham, he says Brahmaji gave this Vidya to Atharvaya, to Atharva. Atharva is who is he? Jyeshthaputra, his eldest son. Atharva being the eldest son, Brahmaji, the creator, the sustainer. When he becomes a sustainer, his name is Vishnu. But the same force gives this knowledge to his eldest son, Atharva. So it's just an argument. Some people say, but Brahmaji had this Manasa 4 sons, Sanat Kumara. To resolve this, Shankara just says in one line, he says this is referring to that Kalpa in which this Brahmaji's eldest son was Atharva. So Atharva is his eldest son. Why the eldest son? Just to reveal that any father, what would he want to give to his son? The best. He will never give something which is not useful, which is not good for the son, which is not bhadram for the son. So he says the lineage is established between father and son just to communicate that whatever he knew, every father gives his best to his son. Also mother to the daughter and mother to the son and father to the daughter. Don't worry. That's all fine. A parent gives the best to his child, to her child. So Atharva received directly the knowledge from Brahmaji. Praha, Brahmaji said this. And Praha is not just said, he said it in such a way that till it was clear to Atharva. That is the clue here. Praha word just doesn't mean he said it. Like so many times we just say something and whether the other person's understood or not. No. A teacher, here he says, Brahmaji being the teacher, he gave the knowledge to his son in such a manner until his son was clear about it. That clarity of Brahmavidya, till that clarity dawned, Brahmaji gave this knowledge to Atharva. That is the first verse. Then the lineage continues, and we will start with it. The second verse, I'll just touch upon it and we'll have a little short class today. Atharvaneyaam pravadeta brahma Atharvatam purovachangire brahma vidyam Sa bharadvajaya satyavahaya praha Bharadvajo angirase paravaram Atharvaneyaam pravadeta brahma Atharvatam purovachangire brahma vidyam Sabharadvajaya satyavahaya praha Bharadvajo angirase paravaram. So what happened to Atharva the minute he received the knowledge? Sorry. So the minute he received this knowledge, tradition says that you give it once you've digested it, accepted the knowledge, once you have received the joy and the phalam of the knowledge, you don't keep it with you. Knowledge is to be given away. Away means to be disseminated. Is to be, the effort has to be there to give it to someone else. The minute you have received the knowledge from someone, now you must put in the effort to give it to someone. So the minute Atharva got the knowledge, he gave it to Angir, the very same knowledge, Angirasa, Angiraha. He gave the knowledge to Angira. And what happened to Angira? Means Brahmaji gave it to Atharva, Atharva gave it to Angiras. And what did Angiras do? He taught it to Satyavaha. Satyavaha means the one who is always abiding in Satya. Satya means now he is the one who is established in values. He gave it to Satyavaha, following the Bharadwaja lineage. Satyavaha, who was from the Bharadwaja lineage. Satyavaha handed it down and passed it again further to Angiras now. First one Angir, Angiras, Angiraha now. Establishing a lineage, a live tradition, absolutely unique to Vedic knowledge, which means every receiver of the knowledge receives it and sees the truth of it. And the minute he appreciates the truth of it, he puts in the effort to give it to someone else to receive the truth, which means he puts in the effort, means Shastra says, of course, the book started by saying the student teacher seeks the teacher. He's qualified now to reveal the knowledge to the person who seeks the knowledge. In this manner, having established the parampara of knowledge, to make it immediately available with a personal view, handed down, handed down, handed down. And Sadashiva Samarambham is another invocation, which means Asmadacharya. This knowledge coming straight from the source is now, I am the recipient of it. Given this parampara now, the student abides in this drishti, that this knowledge is extremely valuable. As long as this creation is there, this knowledge is there. When I become the receiver of this knowledge, then now I gain the phalam of it and can free myself from it. So with this, and we'll do the third verse next time. For now, just these two verses. I'm still getting used to talking to myself on YouTube. So the mind goes a blank in between because there are no faces. You're used to, for so many years, talking to faces. This is also very good. I'm sure in a class or two, you'll get used to it. I'll get used to it. But for now, I'll end the class here with these two verses. We have initiated the class, and we hope without interruption, we can continue with this class. I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhave. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Bhadrani. The meaning of Bhadra applies here. Angirasa, yes, the sage. Correct. The Rishi. So in case you have any questions, you can always put it in the comments. Too much I can't read because that is kind of distracting also sometimes. But I'll make sure if you put a Q before the comment, then I will know that you are asking a question. So if you have any questions, you may please put it in the comment while the class is on also. And if there is a Q before, then I will know that that is a question. So with this, we will meet next Tuesday, hopefully, God willing. Okay, thank you everyone. Take care, stay safe, take a lot of precautions always. God bless. Hari Namaste everyone.